guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. We're back here at Loki Kia, and guess what? I have that one small, boxy crossover SUV that has gone the furthest in production. It's this vehicle right here. This is a 2025 Kia Soul. This particular one is the EX trim. But before we get into this boxy Kia that, if you remember correctly, was driven by hamsters, let's talk about what's going on here. So you heard correctly. The Kia Soul has outlasted them all. Outlasted the Honda Element, the Nissan Cube, and the Scion XB. If you remember, in that early 2000s, small boxy crossover SUVs was all the rage, and everybody wanted a piece of an action. Now, the funny thing is the Soul should have already been dead and gone, but because of current economic situations, pricing of vehicles, and everything in between, Kia has decided to keep the Soul going. So what I want to find out is, if you're looking for a small crossover SUV, is this the best way to go? Let's go ahead, let's dive into this one and see if we can find out. Right off the bat, a Smurf would be perfect driving this one because of that color. It's actually called Surfer Blue. Reminds me of Boost Blue. It's funny how if you see Boost Blue on a Civic Type R, you're like, yeah. And when people see this blue on this Soul, they're like, I don't know if I like it. It's kind of interesting how that works. Now, the front of the business, you'll still see that unique style that they still have going on. Very, very small and angular on the headlight design. Everything is going to be old school Thomas Edison light bulbs. They're trying to keep the price point in check. And that's another thing you got to think about. In today's climate, with the prices of vehicles going up, up, up and away, is this the best way to get you to where you need to be without breaking the bank? And one way that they do that to keep the prices down is to go with the older fashioned Thomas Edison light bulbs. Now, you do have a little bit of silver trim, but I am gonna have to zonk this corner area. That would have been nice to have some lighting in there, maybe like a vertical stack of driving lights. But like I said, it has kept its identity all of these years. The blue with the flat black and a little bit of that aluminum trim kind of gives it a little bit of pizzazz. Now, as we come across that face of the Soul, I kind of like the way they have the Kia badge and this trim under glass. It just gives it a nice polished look. You'll notice how they have a dip in the center. That's to help with the overall tiger nose grille design. Lower grille area is still massive, large and open, functional up top. In the center, down below, you have those aluminum accents with the aluminum that goes all the way around the perimeter to give it like a nice grill, like a set of teeth. Arr. But let me know what you think about the face of the Kia Soul. Is it dated? Is it silly looking? Or are you digging it? Now, as we rise up, you do have a little bit of an indentation on the hood. Everything else kind of curves down. It's not as boxy as it used to be, but compared to a lot of crossover SUVs today, this is as boxy as it gets. Now, as we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup. So on our EX trim, you're getting these machined aluminum wheels with the gunmetal metallic gray. This is a 18-inch wheel. Tires are going to be 235 on the width, 45 series sidewall, and guess what? Everything is painted around the fender opening. But let me know what you think about the wheels with this particular color. I think it works. The gray with the machined aluminum. I've seen worse wheels. Not bad on this EX trim. Now, coming down the side, you are going to get gloss black on your mirror caps. And this particular one is the two-tone. So you have that surf style blue with the black top. I think that really makes it, instead of it being all blue. I think if it was all blue, it would just look like a big blob of Smurf, like a pile of Smurfs. But having the black roof kind of cuts it down. Nice flat roof design. Color match on the door handles. And then you do have some flat black and some flat silver along the side. Working our way towards the rear, you'll notice how you actually get rear quarter glass instead of just gloss black trim on some other vehicles. And then coming around the back, they kept the identity with that flat back end. You do have an exposed wiper. I'm not going to zonk it because there's really nowhere else to put it, but you can see how the two-tone, the lighting kind of drops down into that midsection. And then working our way down to ground level, just a nice, simple, clean bumper area. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see what is still powering this Soul. All right guys, we got the hood popped. Surprisingly, you do actually have hood struts. There's no prop rod. Underneath the hood, there's one engine choice. Gone is the turbo, no more GT line Kia Soul. It's a naturally aspirated 2-liter inline four. It produces 147 horsepower, 132 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a CVT. 0 to 60, it's not fast, let's just be honest. 0 to 60 in 8 seconds, quarter mile in 16.3 seconds. Top speed is governed to 120 miles an hour. The vehicle does weigh 2,965 pounds, but here's where you're gonna really come out on top. MPGs, 27 in the city, 33 on the highway, and this vehicle is front-wheel drive. There is no all-wheel drive, or definitely no rear-wheel drive Driftmobile Kia Soul. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire it up and see Papa Smurf go. All right, guys, we are inside this 2025 Kia Soul. This being an EX trim in surf blue, so California surfing here and California dreaming for sure. But I know you're probably saying to yourself, well, Joe, how much is this? Because I need an affordable crossover SUV. I don't want a sedan. I want an SUV. How much is this? MSRP starting is right around $23,000. This one, the way that it's optioned, is $27,000. But let's see what you get when you go Kia Soul to the door panels. I do like the way it's nice, black, soft touch material up top. You'll notice they did this really cool design in the gray finish by the door handle. And then you have the two-tone with that Babe Ruth baseball glove colored armrest and center portion of the door panel. No gloss black. We got the Harman Kardon sound system and a door pocket that's good enough for 5 ballpark hot dogs with extra relish and onions and a bottle of Pepsi to wash it down. Now going from the door panel to the dash, very unique design on our AC vent. Work your way in. You know how a lot of people complain that infotainment systems aren't nicely built into the dash? Well, guess what? It's built into the dash in the Kia Soul. That's a 10.25-inch infotainment system screen, full touchscreen with all your familiar apps and icons from Kia. Very easy to use. Throw it in reverse. Backup camera, the resolution's actually very clear, and you have trajectory lines. So not too shabby. Working your way down, real knobs for your audio controls, and you're gonna get dual climate control. There's your blower fan. I like the way they got a little Kia Soul for the icon there for your recirculation. Wireless charging, a 12 volt, a USB-A, a USB-C, and a place where you could put 7 Twinkies. This is going to control your CVT. You do have 2 stages of heated seats, your drive mode selector button. I'll show you that when you come to the business side. And there's your silver start stop button. Good old fashioned mechanical e-brake. You could swing the rear end of the Soul out. 2 cup holders, nicely padded on the armrest with the tan stitching. Open it up, you have enough room in there to where easily you could put, I would say, dang, you could put 6 McDonald's apple pies, those hot apple pies. Just make sure you let them cool off before you put them in your mouth, or it's gonna taste like lava. It's gonna feel like lava. Seats, just like the door panels. The tan, I like the grippy cloth. Some nice bolstering. You have manual adjustments for the passenger. I have electric assist for the driver. You don't have a sunroof, but what I am gonna zonk is not the fact that there's not a sunroof. I don't like the beige headliner. It should be black. But why don't you come over here to the business side? I wanna show you behind the sporty wheel in this Kia Soul. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. Now, what's nice is you do have those electric seat controls, easy to get to, and the seats are actually quite comfortable. I can't believe I'm saying that they're comfy, because they are actually comfy and they look good. They're quite classy with the surf blue and the tan seats. Steering wheel, you got leather all the way around, flat black on all the switchgear, a little bit of silver trim. It is a manual tilting and telescoping wheel. And then you have that 10.25-inch digital gauge cluster. When you go into sport mode, it turns red. So you got sport, you got normal. Normal's purple, you're Barney. Red, you're on fire. I like that. Easy, simple, straightforward. Plenty of headroom in here because of that boxy shape. But let's get into the back seat and see if your passengers think that you have a lot of soul. All right, guys, backseat time. And I'm telling you right now, even though this is a subcompact, you got plenty of room back here. That's what's so amazing about this Soul. Now, you do have that nice soft touch material. There's no pocket behind the driver's side, but don't get too upset because you do get a pocket over here. This is where you could put a couple Annie's Ann's pretzels. I could use an Annie Ann's pretzel right about now, and a big old glass of Arnold Palmer. That's Steven's favorite. 2 USB-Cs, so you're gonna be able to stay charged and connected in the back seat, and you have a nice armrest. But really, the room back here is incredible. Same nice seat design as up front. But why don't we go ahead, let's get into the cargo area and see if we could fit big things in small. All right, guys, cargo area time on the EX trim. It's just a manual lift, but it's really light. Flips right up. You're actually gonna be greeted to 24 cubic feet of space. Easy to put the rear seats down. So you got that 60-40 split. Look how easy that is. Even the weakest person you know can do this. And it's relatively flat, which is awesome. So you just went from 24 cubic feet and you more than doubled it. 51 cubic feet of space. Underneath, you have some room in here to hide things, and you got a spare. So that's good news. And we got, like I said, the Harman Kardon sound system with that subwoofer in the back. But why don't we go ahead? If you're ready, I'm ready. It's still around. I'm not a hamster, and I'm not wearing a hamster costume, but let's go for a spin in this Soul. All right, guys, we're inside this Surf Blue 2025 Kia Soul EX trim. And right away, for an EX trim, it's got a lot of nice features to it. Easy to get to that 10.25-inch screen. The digital gauge cluster is very easy to read. And just a vehicle that is so well organized on space. You just have so much in such a small vehicle. Because like I said, the Soul is considered a subcompact. Visibility is great, out the front, out the back. You got the whole Kia DriveWise safety features. So you have your lane keep assist, your blind spot monitoring, all those goodies. And then you're getting some pretty good MPGs behind it. But it's incredible that the Soul has made it the furthest in production compared to all the other ones that I mentioned at the start of the video. But I think one of my favorite things about this car are the seats. They look good, they feel good, and they really just add a little bit of extra specialness to this Kia Soul. It's actually pretty quiet on the cabin, which is nuts for a vehicle that has an MSRP of $27,000. But having the dual climate control, that's another feature that normally you see on much more expensive vehicles. 2 stages of the heated seats, even the wireless charging is great. And all the material in here, it's all soft touch, which is incredible. The one thing that just bothers me is I'm not digging the beige headliner, just not my favorite when it comes to interior colors. I think it would have just helped to just have had it just be black. And then it's nice that you have USB-A's, but you also have the newer USB-C's as well. Plus you got plenty of cargo area. This proves that small things, you can get big things in small packages. But overall, just I haven't been in one of these in quite some time, and I'm just overall very, very impressed. On throttle, here we go. So where it's gonna hurt is in the acceleration department. It's just not there. Like I said, 0 to 60 in about 8 seconds. Doesn't have the most encouraging engine note as well. But that's not what the point of this vehicle is, right? I mean, the point of this vehicle is to give you versatility, to give you room, and to get you where you need to go. But it does add a lot of nice extra touches to it. But being behind the wheel is just very comfortable. And I think you're gonna appreciate that. You're really not getting a bunch of wind noise and road noise, which is mind-blowing in this vehicle. Because, you know, a lot of times we tend to think that the less expensive vehicles are gonna be very noisy to drive and whatnot, but this one isn't, it's gonna surprise you. I'm gonna go ahead and make a U-turn. Piece of cake in this. I mean, look at this. On throttle, here we go. Nothing really to write home about. I'm gonna take the shift lever. You can manually shift through the simulated gears. So let's see if there's a difference. I'm dropping down. This is 4th, 3rd, 2nd. You ready? On throttle. There we go. Now we're cooking. So definitely much better if you're gonna manually shift, but the problem with that is that it's backwards of what it should be. You should pull back to go up the gears and push forward to go down the gears. It's flip-flop, which makes it a little confusing. But it does give you a little bit more zip and allows you to rev out the engine a little bit to get going. You see the downshift there? Nice and smooth on the simulated gears that it has. That's really the better way to go, is to manually shift with the actual shift lever. No paddles behind the wheel, so you gotta use the shift lever. But it definitely does help on acceleration and driving. And then you can hold that gear for a little bit longer. And then to put it back into regular drive, you just take it and push it back to the passenger side. But this one has actually surprised me, just because it's been so long since I've done a review of a Kia Soul, especially in this surf blue and with the tan interior. But we're gonna go ahead and get back to Loki Kia and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, another day here at Loki Kia. Definitely got to thank Robert and the rest of the crew getting us access to this 2025 Kia Soul EX trim. It's still around. It's gone the distance, but is it worth buying? Especially if you're looking for a small crossover SUV. Let me know your thoughts down in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. I'll come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raise Rise family. Gotta give up to Stephen Flood. He is the man with the plan. What that plan is, who the heck knows, but Stephen does. So thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.